Hello, I'm Tony Mornian. Today we're going to be making a pinhole camera out of a large tin can. This one used to have tomatoes in it, and I've washed it and dried it, taken off the label. I've also made a small guide hole, and I'm going to be drilling a larger hole with an electric drill here in a moment. I take a wooden block and I put it across the inside of the can about halfway down. If you notice, the seam is on the back side, and I'm going to be drilling the hole on the front side. I use about a 3/8 inch drill bit. I've drilled a hole. Now I'm going to take the block out, and you can see that the hole is here. The next step is to paint the inside of the can. I'll use spray paint. It's called flat black. It doesn't reflect light. I have a box here that I've used before for painting because I don't want to get the table all dirty. I spray it with short bursts. The idea is to cover all the surfaces and down inside as well. I also spray paint the inside of the top. Now you can see that the inside is completely black, and later on we can seal this up and we'll know that there won't be any reflections bouncing around the inside of the can. I'm going to set it aside to dry now. Now we're going to be making the pinhole. I have a piece of aluminum foil here. It's about 2 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. It's a Coke can, and I've trimmed the corners to make them nice and smooth, just so you don't poke yourself. I take the needle and I put it more towards the center of the piece of tin foil, and I start turning it with my finger on the other side to feel the pin when it comes through. And then with gentle pressure back and forth so that I can feel the pin come through but not poke myself, I make the pin hole. You can probably see the point of the needle sticking through the aluminum foil now. I'm going to pull it out. I'll turn it gently because I want to make this as round a hole as possible. Now that we have our pinhole, the back side has a rough edge on it from where the pin went through, or where the needle went through. I'm going to use the sandpaper to sand that down. And I use circular motion, just like the hole. I want it to be circular. I sand the back side, and then I sand the front side. The idea is to remove any burrs and to make the hole as round as possible without any jagged edges which will interfere with the passage of light. I check the hole with the needle. Put it in and gently spin it again. I don't push hard. I'm not trying to make a bigger hole. Just clean up the one that's there. And then I go back and I sand it again, just to be sure that I've got all the rough edges off. You want to use thin tin. You can use a pie pan if you want, but that's a little thicker than this Coke can. And the Coke can you can cut with a pair of scissors. Alright, so now I've made the pinhole. It's sanded down on both sides, and if you look very carefully, you can see the pinhole in the tin. We've been waiting for the paint to dry on the inside of the can. Now we're going to attach the tin foil, or the tin with the pinhole in it, to the can. To attach the pinhole to the can, we're going to use black tape. This is black duct tape. We don't need very much of it, just enough to cover the aluminum foil and the hole. Now I'm going to turn it backwards so that the sticky side is out, because I want to cut a diamond shape in this. And the diamond shape will cut just like this with a pair of scissors. That diamond shape is going to go over the pinhole, the area of the pinhole. So that as closely as possible, the pinhole is in the center of the diamond. I want to attach the pinhole to the can, and I want the pinhole to be as close to the center of the large hole in the tomato can as possible. And you can see that I put it on here. If you look very carefully, you can see light coming through the pinhole. Not very much, it's a very small hole. We have the pinhole taped to the can. Next thing we have to do is make a shutter for it, or something to open or close to let in light or to cut it off. But we'll use a piece of electrician's tape for this. It's about 4 inches long. The electrician's tape is easy to work with, and we'll fold over one end like this because we want a little handle. We got a little handle now, and we're going to put it over. We're going to put the shutter over the pinhole. The shutter's over the pinhole, but when I want to let in light later on, when I have film in the camera, I just pull it back like that. The light goes in through the pinhole and exposes the film. When it's time to stop the exposure or cut off the light, I simply put the tape back down. Now the camera is finished. The shutter is here. The inside is completely black. The inside of the top is black. All we need to do is put the film in and expose it. Now this is what we would do in a darkened room. In a darkened room, you take a piece of film and you put the emulsion side, or the side that's going to take the picture. You want it to go to face the pinhole. And on this, the gray side would be the emulsion side. It has the chemistry on it that makes the picture. So in a darkened room, we open up the pinhole camera, and I've cut this to fit the inside of the can so that it goes almost all the way around the inside of the can. In the darkened room, we put the film inside the can and slide it down. And you do want to make sure that the film does not cover the pinhole. You can see the edges of the film, and you can see the pinhole. We don't want to cover the pinhole with the film. So now the camera's loaded, and it's almost ready to take the picture. But again, still in the darkened room, we take the lid for the can, and we put it on, and we tape it shut so that no light can get in. And using some black sticky tape, the electrician's tape again, we tape it very carefully all the way around so that no light can get in. There's our camera, the pinhole camera. How do we take the picture using a pinhole camera? We take it out into the bright sunlight and we point it in the direction where we want to take the picture. Then we open the shutter. Oh, by the way, we put it down flat, and we want it to be very still because this is going to take many seconds. So we put it down flat, and then we open the shutter, and we leave it alone for the time that it will take to expose the film. Sometimes it can be 2 seconds, sometimes it can be 2 minutes. but whatever it is, it has to, the camera has to stay very still. Then when it's time to stop the exposure, reach down and cover the hole with your finger, and then bring the tape across and close the shutter. Now your film is ready to be developed. Once the film has been developed, washed and dried, this is what you'll get. It's a negative. It's not a positive picture that we're used to. This is the one that's used to make that positive picture in a later stage.